What's up, magical misfits? Drew here. And first off, I hope that all of you are doing really well. Next thing, real quick, before we get into what I'm gonna chat about today, I have a quick announcement. So I'm actually starting, or have started, a new channel with my friend Erica. Some of you may know her. She was Raw Spirit here on YouTube for a while. She went away, she came back, and now she has Erica Farmer Tarot on YouTube. She's not super active on it though. At any rate, we've been friends for years and we decided we wanted to start a channel together, and it is called the High Priestess and the Hierophant. It is not a tarot channel, even though Erica is a huge tarot nerd. Her words, not mine. So we will absolutely be talking about tarot, because we'll be talking about divination in general, I would think, because for us, divination is an essential part of your average mystical path, and that's kind of the place we're hitting this from. The subtitle, if you will, for the channel is Exploring Informed Mysticism, and I'm not really going to go into what that is, because if you're interested, I will have a link below and maybe an end card, and you can go over and check that out because we explain it all in our introduction video. So I won't really get into it, but basically she and I have gotten into regularly we get into these really deep, wonderful conversations, and we thought, why don't we just share these? We know there must be other people who would, if not benefit from, just enjoy these conversations. Surely it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. We're not all going to have the same thoughts, ideas, and experiences, but still it's nice to share and to have these really cool conversations. The things that we'll talk about are many and varied. Again, we go into that. She and I do have some very different paths as well as interests, but they do overlap. And so there's any number of topics we might discuss. We hope to have interesting, lovely guests on to, get an extra perspective and some extra insight into any topics, and just, fun. Friends chatting, fun. So again, if you're interested in that, please do check us out. Okay, I'm having my tea, which you probably don't need to hear, but let me be clear, I am not abandoning this channel. I'm going to continue on as I have been thus far, just sort of one video a month, and that's apt to change. Like I said, maybe, at some point I will create more content again, but for the time being, I'm going to continue on as I have been. My second channel, my creations channel, is kind of defunct at the moment. If I don't record a video for that channel this month, it'll be 3 months that I haven't. And it's a new channel. There's not a ton of content on there as it is, but this kind of ties into what I was going to get into in this video anyway. So if you remember, I think it was if you watched, I'm talking to you like, obviously, this is a conversation we've had. This is the way I talk to Erica. This is why this is happening. If you watched my last video, I believe it was the last video, I talked about how I do this regular meditation, and at that point, when I had done it, when I got up to my solar plexus chakra, I had this really almost visceral experience of, oh my God, nothing is ever going to be the same again. And there was panic and grief and just a whole thing that happened with that. And in my mind, that was directly equated to my path and practice, my magical practice in particular. But I understood, that's going to affect my business, and that's going to affect everything, my whole life on some level, right? But, the longer that I've marinated in this realization, the longer that it's had time to set in, it's like all these little cracks have appeared, and like it's spreading, and I can, the longer it goes, the more I can see the effects, right? So the reason I haven't been making content for that channel is just this, for the past, I would say 3 months in particular. First off, for the past couple of years, I've been struggling with some of my product, as far as, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But there are people who have explicitly said to me, please continue to do this. We love this thing. And feeling conflicted about that. But I've let it go. I've let it go. Over the past few months, I've just sat with it and thought about it and mulled it over, and there was some hemming and hawing, and there was some difficulty. Growing and changing isn't easy, but I finally just let it go, and I let it all go. So there's some changes that people on the outside probably wouldn't really realize what's happening. I mean, you can go into my shop right now and you'll see that there's some stuff on sale. But what that is all the things on sale are being discontinued. I will no longer make them. All of my husband's candles are staying the same. He makes some of the hand molded candles, most of them, and he makes the intention candles. Those will stay the same. It's my candles that are changing. And that's another part that I struggled with, because this is how this whole thing started. I started making my own candles, my own spell and ritual candles. And then my husband followed suit. He started making some too. And then eventually we started selling them to the public and whatnot. And so this is like the root, and I'm letting it go. I will no longer be making my hand molded candles, at least for the foreseeable future. I certainly will not be making full moon, espit, or Sabbath candles any longer. It's no longer a part of my path and practice. It doesn't resonate. It just isn't. I just need to let it go. I need to stop fighting to hold on to things that no longer serve. So there are plenty in the shop, but they're on sale, and as soon as they're gone, they're gone. I won't make them anymore. I don't make them anymore. It actually feels really good to say that. It is such a relief. It feels so good to be letting that go. Much of the stuff that I make will still be there, just not most of the candles. I do think that I probably would be pulling some sigil candles in, and I do have some ideas, but there's nothing concrete. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm happy for it. So that's why I haven't really been creating content for that channel, because I've just kind of been in this weird space with it. But now I feel good and I'm ready to move forward. And I think it's going to be smooth sailing with all that, and I'll get back into a routine with that content. The bulk of what the conversation for this video really is this changing, and how I'm noticing now it moving into the expanse of my life, like the entirety of my life. I have a morning routine, and there's a whole myriad of things that I do: a daily meditation, my daily devotional, stretching. There's certain things that I drink, like it's bitter melon tea, there's a whole thing. So recently, while stretching, I was just feeling really good about it. I'm just like, oh yes, this is who I want to be. And all of a sudden, it's kind of complicated, but I had this moment, and I can't even draw a straight line from point A to point B and give you like a coherent stream of thought or anything like that. Look, it was just this jumble. It was like when I get like higher guidance, I call it an information dump, because it's just like it's like information is dropped into my head and I have to sort it out and make it make sense. Is how that kind of happens. It's at least one method. And this is what that felt like, although it wasn't the same thing. I had an emotional reaction, and then there was a mental thing, thoughts and stuff happening, but it was all very jumbled, and it happened very quickly. It's kind of like things flashing through your mind, right? And so again, there's no coherent thought stream, but the gist of it is that I was like, okay, this is who I want to be. Like this stretching, this is who I want to be. This is part of who I want to be, and I'm like, who do I want to be? I mean, there was a point in time where I could have told you, I want to have a brick and mortar shop, and I want to keep bees, and I want to grow certain herbs. And there's this whole just litany of things. Like I could have told you, this is who I want to become. This is where I'm going. These are the things I'm striving for. And all of those things are still lovely to me. And I'm not like, oh no, I don't want to do those things. That's not how I feel. It's just this realization that I don't care in a way. It's like, none of it matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know who I'm becoming, and it doesn't matter. Like it's like I let go of the attachment without realizing that I did. I had surrendered to this process, right? This is part of why I got to a good space with the business and the whole thing. I surrendered almost instantaneously, at least in part, in that moment in my solar plexus. I was like, as soon as I got into my heart chakra, I was like, oh, okay, it's all good. We're good. Like, oh, you know. And I did some work with myself mentally and emotionally in the days following, weeks following, um, to surrender to to just let it go, to just go with it. Immediately, within, a week or two of this happening, I went and made those changes in the shop, and I finally made the decision to do what I knew I needed. I've known I needed to do for quite some time and was struggling with for various reasons. Partly my own identity, partly other people's expectations, what have you. But that this identity thing piece is like huge in this. Like, I already, I came to terms with, okay, I'm not going to be the witch that I was. Like, this is all very different. I went through my studio last week or the week before and got rid of so much stuff. I still have a lot of stuff, whether it's for the business or myself, but like, I got rid of herbs that I don't use. Most of them went to my husband for him to use, but I got rid of jars and just things that I don't need. Why do I have this? And it no longer serves. I can see that it no longer is a significant part of my practice. And I think that is an ongoing process. Like, I'm not finished. I haven't finished with that. I still have things that I'm holding on to that I probably don't need. And, probably take me years to finally whittle it down, but I'll do it. It was just this bizarre, it was just like, I don't know who I want to become. And so the thought process, again, it wasn't a thought process, but the immediate reaction is, well, then how do you know what to do? And I didn't even, like, those words didn't enter my head, but it was almost instant. It was pretty bizarre. It's not, normally I think things out in a linear kind of way. But this was just all very instantaneous, me struggling with this and then being like, well, you just continue to stretch and you just, whatever, you just be in the moment, basically. And who cares what I'm becoming? Like, it doesn't matter. Right now, what matters is who I am and what I am right now. And that's where the focus should be. And obviously, this is all very, duh. It's all very, like, logically. This happens to me all the time. Logically, I know the thing, but I'm not really in the thing. I'm not in that space. I'm not, like, you call it vibrationally, energetically, the full system, like, however you want to think, whatever terms you want to use to think about this in. Logically, I understand the thing and I know it. I know it to be true, but I'm not in that space of being. And like, so, duh, you need to not be focused on the end goal. You need to just be doing what you're doing. But all the years that I have practiced anything consciously, there has been an end goal. I did try to stay in the moment, but I knew I was meditating for X, Y, and Z. I knew I was doing energy work for X, Y, and Z. I knew I was doing whatever I was doing, whatever study, whatever practice for the end goal, whatever that was, to become more in touch with whatever, or to become more whole within myself. And like, obviously those are still, my path has always been one of self-mastery, so that's the end goal, I guess. But I have no attachment to it. And I find it's hugely liberating. And all I can do is be extremely grateful, because I didn't intend to have an attachment in the first place. So I didn't sit down and try to become unattached to an end goal, an end situation. Like, it just occurred to me that that's what happened through this process. And I'm sure, when I first got on this path, I didn't have an end goal. When I had what I would call my initiation, there was no end goal. I was totally just definitely in the moment, like, confused and disoriented and just trying to move forward with this new identity as it was. So I've been in this space before, and I know that eventually, like, ego will come back, or whatever process will bring me back. I'm sure that moving forward, eventually there'll be a goal again. And I'll have new goals and new ideas of where I'm going and what it is I'm doing. But in this moment, as I sit here before you, I have none. I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, and I don't care. I don't care. I have no attachment. It's whatever it is, it's going to be good. It's going to work out. It's going to be great. I'm fine. But to me, it's really bizarre because, again, I can sit here and say, if I never have a brick and mortar shop, I don't care. I don't care. I could not have said that to you in the last video. The last time that I made a video, I would have said to you, it'll be okay if I never get a brick and mortar shop, but that'll really break my heart. I'll be sad. Like, it's sad to think that that won't happen. That would have been my mindset. Like, I don't feel sad about it at all. I feel I'm perfectly fine because I don't know. There's something shifted inside of me. Because again, a month ago, I could have said to you, if I don't get that brick and mortar shop one day, I know whatever I'm doing is actually what I'm meant to be doing, and it'll be okay because that'll actually be better for me and everyone around me. Whatever I actually end up with will actually be the thing, right? But I still would have had that sadness because there was that attachment. But like, I don't have that attachment to anything. Like, nothing. I don't care. I don't care. Last video, if you know, the conversation was, I'm never going to be able to move from where I live and I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life here, that would have been very sad. Like, I probably could have cried about that. Like, I was so attached to the idea that I don't want to, and granted, I still would love to move somewhere else. I would love to live somewhere else. I don't know where, but somewhere else. But if I don't, that's okay too. Like, I genuinely am in this state of, I don't give a shit. I don't actually care. And I want to emphasize that it's from a healthy, I don't care. It's not a life doesn't matter, or, you know, some defeatist. It's just, it genuinely doesn't matter. Everything I need to be whole and happy exists within me. This is a nice space to be in. Like I said, I know it's probably temporary, but it's just very liberating to not have attachment, to be like, everything could be gone tomorrow and I'm okay. I'm okay. That just means that a new chapter has begun. Like, I don't know. It's very bizarre. I would like to stay in this space. I would love to be able to stay here, but I don't want to get attached to that idea either. No, I'm just going to let it play out. But yeah, I'm not scared and I'm not sad. I have no idea who I'm becoming, and that's fine. Okay. I'm still focused on my meditation practice, doing, that work. I don't know if I was into this piece yet, but I'm doing trauma work now. There's this, I believe that I have repressed memories. There is a specific 1.5, 2 year period of my life in which I have very little memory, although I have lots of memories before and after. Like, it's bizarre. I can tell you, well, when I was 18 years old and we got back here from overseas, I could have named every single teacher that I had. And like, when I lived in Okinawa, for 7th and 8th grade, we had 7 teachers. I had 7 classes a day. So, that's just 14 teachers in that 2 year period. And then after that, it was 6. For all the years after. But again, I could have named every single teacher I had. And starting in 3rd grade, I had 2 teachers a year because we switched classes for like math and stuff. Except my 1st and 2nd grade teacher. I had no idea who they were. And the only reason I realized this is my mother pulled out my grade school report cards and I realized I had no memories of that. No memories of those teachers or those classes. I have 1 memory of 2nd grade, 1 memory of 1st grade, and then a handful of memories of those years outside of school, like my home life. It's very bizarre because I can remember, I have a handful of memories from when I was 3. Like, I have a good long-term memory. I've always known there was an issue. But since then, since I was 18, I've known that there was an issue and that I might have repressed memories. But I didn't dig at it until recently. And it always freaked me out. I thought, look, I didn't have the greatest childhood. And so I have some really fucked up memories. So I was like, you know what? If I remember this, but I'm blocking something, I don't think I want to know what I'm blocking. And I was good with that. But I've come to realize that that that's not okay. That I need to work, even if I don't actually physically, even if I don't have the memories, I need to work through the trauma, create, like, because that's trauma, right? And so I started looking into repressed memories, and like, I would watch a video where someone was talking about a repressed memory, and I would get, like, I'd start crying, like almost crying, like get really emotional just from talking about what a repressed memory was. So, obviously that's something I needed to work on, and I'm working on that now. Mostly through guided meditations and stuff, but I'm trying to get to that deep unconscious level and work through that trauma whatever way I can. And aside from that, I'm still doing my studying of ancient Egypt, on a sort of dry academic level, but also Heka and comedics, I guess. But I don't have any books specifically on comedics. I have books specifically on Heka, and I have books specifically on the history of ancient Egypt, from like anthropology, Egyptology, uh, you know, archaeology, like a scholarly type level. And so I'm still doing all of that study and research. I have the Book of Gates and the Book of the Dead, but I haven't gotten into those. I want to. I have my areas of focus at the moment. I want to get more books on, specifically on ancient Egyptian mythology, and do that study because that's important to Heka. But and I honestly, it's just important to me, period, because of my relationship with Egyptian deity now. But yeah, other than that, things are pretty much same old here. But I feel really good about all the work I'm doing and the direction I'm headed in. And so whatever that looks like, we'll figure it out. I guess I'll let you know as I get there. Anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough about this. Thanks for listening to me share my head noise and my work that I'm doing, the direction my life is taking. But yeah, that's enough. I've talked enough. So until next time, much love and gratitude.